This episode is sponsored by Smart Travel, a new podcast from NerdWallet. You know that one friend who always finds the best travel deals, picks the right cards, and somehow ends up in first class for the price of coach? Smart Travel is like that friend, but in podcast form. They cover all things travel finance, like which travel cards are actually worth having and which are just heavy, shiny metal. Plus, they break down the simple math for deciding when to use your points and when it makes more sense to just swipe your card and save them for later. Travel smarter and spend less with help from NerdWallet. Follow Smart Travel wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a Voyescape podcast. You can find all of our travel podcasts from around the world at voyescape.com.
Are you still there? To delete this message, press 7. To save it in the archives, press 9. To hear more options, press 0.
What are you talking about?
Hi, Katie.
Hey there, Erin.
Well, we are gathered here today to talk about something that is sad. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I told you trophy hunting is an area of tourism that I just have willfully tried not to think about because it makes me so upset. Every once in a while, I'm sure this has happened to you, I've come across one of these ragey Instagram posts of someone posing with an animal that they have killed, and it just fills me with so much upset. I've never really thought about trophy hunting in depth because it's too upsetting.
It's never been a part of my life, so I never really think about it until I come across it in commentary about dudes with pictures of dead animals in their dating profiles. That's that's my context, and billionaires basically.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where I feel like a lot of people, I personally just feel like I inherently know that it's wrong. But Janna, when we chatted with her about the Maasai lawsuit happening in Kenya, she actually talked a little bit to us about trophy hunting because it's an area she's covered and researched quite a lot. And she dropped some really interesting statistics about it that I think really drive home the fact that there's really no argument for it. So we thought in this postcard we would share this clip with Janna because it didn't make it into the full episode with her. Because it's worth hearing, I think, hearing what the reality of trophy hunting tourism is, especially in comparison to photo tourism, especially because a lot of people go to East Africa to do photo tourism without much awareness about the trophy hunting industry there as well. So when we were talking to Janna, we talked mostly about trophy hunting in the context of East Africa, but she did mention that it happens all over the world, which got me thinking about our home country, Canada. What do you think? Do you think that trophy hunting is legal here?
I'm so back and forth on this. I feel like no, because guns aren't legal here really, other than though for hunting. And hunting has a deep history here, but it's for food purposes, not really trophy hunting that I think. So I don't know. I'm going to say it's not legal in Canada.
This is what I thought as well.
No.
But it is.
No way.
Yeah. You know what surprises me is that, we can't generalize values for all Canadians, but I feel like the average Canadian that I know wouldn't be in support of trophy hunting.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't seem to align with our identity from a values perspective.
Do you know what the animals are that people are trophy hunting? Is it classic deer and all of that?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is it's managed provincially and territorially. So there's regulations in each province and territory that I guess manage how it plays out in each region. And this is in place of a single federal law, although the federal government regulates the import and the export of the animals, the trophies.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about the import and export of trophy animals.
Yeah, because another like interesting tidbit here is like most of the trophy hunting industry, it is tourism. This sounds so silly, but I didn't really think about it like as tourism until like we talked to Janna. But it is like most of the people that trophy hunt in Canada are coming from abroad. They're tourists.
Interesting.
And they're coming for our specific animals. So I'm sure you can guess like what some of them are. Do you want to give it a shot?
Yeah, moose definitely. Probably caribou. Probably, I don't know, beavers. But I'm just thinking of all the main animals that we are associated with. Oh, and probably bears, right?
Yeah, it tends to be like, this is what like grosses me out about like trophy hunting. It's such a like power thing.
Yes.
Like they typically want to go off after like hard animals, like big, powerful, usually animals that hunt themselves. So yeah, we're talking like bears, definitely moose, and cougars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the classic dominance thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is what Janna is getting into a lot in her documentary that we talked about. It's pretty nuts.
So yeah, on the values thing, I looked into this because I was like, do Canadians want this? Because I was so surprised that it was legal. So there was a Canada-wide survey from Research Co. done in 2025, and it found that only 12% of Canadians are in favor of hunting animals for sport.
That's higher than I expected.
It is higher than I expected, but it's also surprising because like that's like a very small percentage for this to be legal here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't align. Usually like you would hope, I mean, not to get like too political because it is a political issue, but you would hope that our laws reflect like Canadian sentiment. So here's where it gets complicated. So another interesting thing to mention is that we are the only country in the world that allows trophy hunting of, guess what animal?
I think moose.
No,
No. Bears?
a specific type of bear.
Grizzly bear.
Mm-mm.
Black bear?
A bear you'll
Polar
never
bears.
see. Yeah, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Because those are going extinct. Those are endangered species.
Yeah, I don't know that they're endangered, but they're considered vulnerable.
Wow. But that's
Still
I
a
have no
problem.
words.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole about this because I was shocked that like there are people out there hunting polar bears, especially when like if you're in Canada, like you see in the news all the time, like the habitat of our polar bears is shrinking. Our climate is warming in the north. It's causing a lot of problems for polar bears. So it's just shocking to hear this because like I think like most people are generally like concerned for the future of polar bears.
Polar bears are not thriving.
No.
That just feels so extra cruel. And it is cruel across the board, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
that just hits home in a different way for sure for me.
So the thing that complicates it is that Canada is home to many Indigenous nations who have hunted on this land for millennia. And in the northern regions, Indigenous people do control a lot of the trophy hunting. So non-Indigenous hunters have to be accompanied by a local Indigenous guide and use traditional methods when they hunt polar bear. And the argument in favor for this is that these hunts are providing income for remote Indigenous communities. I think it's really important to give some context here. Like for anyone listening who doesn't know much about Canada and our wildlife, like most Canadians, like we will never see a polar bear unless like we go out of our way to see one.
Mm-hmm.
We're more likely to see a polar bear like in another country than in Canada because they are just in extremely remote regions of the north. These are Indigenous territories usually that you can't access by car.
Usually fly in only.
Fly-in only, extremely expensive. There's not tons of tourism in these regions because the logistics of getting there are so challenging. And so I think like that's what makes this complex and like what gave me pause. It's like, okay, the communities up there are not receiving tons of tourism. So like it's not a revenue area that they can tap easily because it's so difficult and expensive to get there. And like Janna mentions in our discussion, it's the wealthy trophy hunters that are spending so much money to do stuff like this. So like it kind of makes sense. Okay, like it's wealthy people who want to trophy hunt polar bears that are spending the money to get to northern Canada.
That's a lot to sit with.
It's a lot to sit with because whenever there are Indigenous communities and territories involved, I feel like it's not my place to say how things are done.
Exactly. That's how I feel too.
On a personal, like moral level, I feel uncomfortable with hunting polar bears. I'm comfortable with Indigenous people hunting polar bears because I know that they use this meat and this animal and they respect it. Trophy hunting is different though. And like, it's important to also say like these northern communities in Canada, they like are abused by our government. Like This is the reality. They are not given the resources they need. A lot of them don't have access to clean drinking water. They're paying extreme prices for foods that get transported up to them. They don't have access to medical care a lot of the time. And this is like because of our government. Like this is like a colonial issue. And so that's where I feel uncomfortable saying, no, you shouldn't like make money from trophy hunting, even though like I feel uncomfortable with trophy hunting as a concept.
I'm so curious to know what the scale of it is.
Well, I can tell you about 500 to 700 polar bears are killed annually in Canada. This represents 2 to 3% of the total population. These figures include both Indigenous subsistence hunts as well as guided, regulated trophy hunts.
Interesting.
So it's a mixture. What I'm getting from like what I'm reading is that it's not about like trophy versus just like Indigenous hunting. It's like this is the total number of polar bears you can hunt per year. And the breakup of it, whether it's trophy or for subsistence. I can't say that word. Subsistence, I think. For food.
Yeah, there you go.
My English degree is really working for me right now. Okay. We've got off track. Yeah. That's basically all I had to say about it. I just I don't have an answer for this. Like, I just thought it was interesting. I think a lot of Canadians probably don't know about this. So I did want to talk about it because I think a lot of people aren't aware. Like, I was shocked just that it's even legal here. So
yeah, it's super, super interesting. I would have never known that. So it's good context to understand.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see because Janna, you'll like hear in this clip, but also in the episode we released with her a couple weeks ago, she is like campaigning around the world with like different governments to make trophy hunting illegal. So it made me wonder if Canada is on her radar. So I might follow up with her and ask her, like, do you plan to talk to the government here? I think like Canadians would probably be open to it being made illegal, but I think it would have to be in consultation with Indigenous communities. Like that would be the only way that it's like fair. I don't think like it should be like our colonial government's decision. I think it has to be decided in conjunction with them.
On that note, should we play this clip?
Yeah, let's get into it.
There is no responsible trophy hunting.
Yeah.
It needs to be outlawed, full stop. Photo tourism, I'll just give you some fun stats. So Tanzania has allocated 200,000 square kilometers for trophy hunting. Photo tourism has 53,000 square kilometers. $30 million the trophy hunting revenue generates from 200,000 square kilometers. Photo tourism in Tanzania generates over $1 billion, it's like 1.3 billion from a third of the space. It's 500 times more revenue generation for photo tourism. It's not necessary. It's about the payouts. It does not conserve wildlife.
Yeah.
It forces extinction. They select the largest, the best gene pool. You end up with weaker, smaller animals. It creates more human-wildlife conflict because animals, remember, they become aggressive. It screws up species, families, herds, the whole 9 yards. It's a disaster. And it has been called conservation far too long. Dr. Jane Goodall said it's the biggest mistake any conservationists have ever made. It's by calling this conservation. She said, you're all being manipulated. She campaigned for the ban in the UK before she passed. And Tanzania and Kenya, Kenya conservationists say they're always trying to find a way to put it back in. The benefits from when we say photo tourism, if you think about that much revenue, if that was going back directly to the communities that live on that land and own the rights, the benefits for them for the generations upon generations of generations is unbelievable. Oh, also, this is a fun one. So trophy hunting gives back 8 cents per hectare to local communities. Photo tourism, $40 per hectare to local communities. There's no argument. It's just people don't have the facts, and the facts have been manipulated by Safari Club International, by the United States government, by certain African governments that claim this is how you deal with human wildlife conflict. It is not. And so the benefits of community conservation, photo tourism, when done locally and responsibly, because those are the people that can do it responsibly. Those are the people we should trust with it. It's their land. It's their wildlife. They do care. They're incredible. They are the stewards of the land and of the wildlife. That's the solution. We can coexist with wildlife. This is not a foregone conclusion, but corporations, that's not their concern, and that's not their expertise. Let them have conferences where, 5,000 people need a seat and they need to figure out how to get parking. They can do that.
It's wild because typically the money speaks. So it's so surprising to hear that despite photo tourism making more money, we still have trophy hunting. Who are the people trophy hunting? I truly haven't even thought about this. Who's paying to do this?
The wealthy elite. Exclusively.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. The trophy hunting industry, last stat that I was, informed with was that it's 75% American, North America, US. So there's European, there's going to be some, people from Asia, there's going to be some Russia, some South America, but it's 75% American. And Safari Club International is the leading lobby group for trophy hunting in the United States. They're global, but they're US based. Yeah. And it really comes from this archaic colonial model of we're going to say hunting is going to be conservation because the hunting fees paid to the governments we're going to use to manage our parks and do anti-poaching and blah, blah, blah. It's not accurate. We have now selected out natural predators. And so now there's more prey, and now we've got to shoot the prey. And that's the problem. Ranchers in the United States don't want to live with wolves. They can. They don't want to. They just want to shoot them because they've been allowed to. And now there's an extinction crisis, and they have to live with 12 wolves, God forbid. And I always use the example of in Laikipia, Kenya, they have the largest population of lions in Laikipia. They do ranching alongside wildlife conservation. Old Pejeta is a great example. And they have predator-proof fencing. They have about a 1% loss of livestock. This is manageable. This is not rocket science. Elon Musk wanting to go to Mars, that's a problem, okay? Living alongside 12 wolves in Wyoming and as a billionaire rancher, not a problem. You just don't want to. And the laws are letting you not have to.
Yeah, but it costs money to make fences, and it's free to shoot things.
Well, it's free, and the government makes money when you shoot them. So
There you go.
Right. So it's wealthy elite, and they usually hide behind it. The people that trophy hunt, there's a Campaign to Ban Trophy Hunting is a British organization. Eduardo Goncalves is amazing. He's essentially done undercover investigative work for years. And I don't know how he must hide because he exposes people usually in England. And so, because it's conservation, but they want to hide it because the average person, whether you ask them in the UK or you ask them in the US, they don't think you can legally shoot elephants anymore or lions anymore. They're blown away. And it's that lack of information. And so what they've done is they have said that, and they've written it into laws in the United States and our import laws. So if we're allowed to import lions, import elephants as trophies, leopards, etc., then hunters are still going to go and spend thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to shoot them to bring them back. But if you can't bring them back as the trophy, because that's what they want, then the industry starts to drop. So what they have done is written into US law, in this case, that hunting of these species is conservation of those African species because it pays money for African governments to protect those species. It's not accurate. The money does not go back to local communities. Again, I have a nonprofit that I'm a co-founder of, and we were starting work in Zambia. We had a project that we were about to do with the wild dogs and local communities, and all but had to choose to leave because trophy hunting was coming in after there not being any for 5 years. And they didn't want it because they said the last time they had trophy hunting, there were no benefits. They wanted photo tourism because they would hear and see other parts of the area getting these benefits. Because again, as I pointed out, 8 cents versus $40, 4 people employed versus 200 people employed, right? So it's just all misinformation. It's as if they took the inverse of what was true and literally wrote the opposite. And they have been able to control the narrative for a very long time because governments make money. And now they say we have too many elephants, meaning too much human elephant conflict. So we're just going to shoot some so that we decrease the conflict with people instead of creating predator-proof enclosures and instead of building more electric fences and maintaining them, right? More boreholes so you have more water sources so people and wildlife aren't always competing. Another school so the kids don't have to walk so far, that they're going to encounter more wildlife. So it's not like something you can fix like this, but it is fixable. And Kenya and these community conservation regions is proof of this. And it's not one organization. We're talking a huge expanse of a country like Kenya with a much larger population than they say have in Zimbabwe. And they are figuring it out and people are benefiting and wildlife is thriving. Like the numbers in Kenya are incredible compared to other species in other countries. The wild dog is like the one thing they don't have because there's just too many people. But everything else, they are the gold standard at this point. So Belgium just banned trophy imports. The UK has been looking to ban it for years, and they have huge parliament support, constituent support. And then what has happened is that the bills would get written and they have to then vote to put it through to legislation. So they have to agree, we're going to put it through, vote on that. The people talked, a few members, we're talking like a handful from what I've been told, talked it out of time, kind of like filibustered it. And so it couldn't go to even that first vote. And then it would die and they would hope you just lost momentum.
I feel like this is representative of something you see happening, especially with wildlife, like all over the world, which is that bad forms of tourism often become prevalent or legal because there aren't other avenues for tourism or for communities to make money from tourism, because this area of tourism is filled with so many wealthy people. It can be very profitable, I guess. You'd only need to get a few trophy hunters a year versus so many photo tourists a year. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just an example of how that sometimes happens, that forms of tourism that seem a little morally gray become dominant because they make the most money or they're the easiest route.
Travel doesn't always go to plan, and that's where the best stories live. Welcome to the Winging It Travel podcast, where you don't just hear about travel, you feel it. I'm James Hammond, and I'm podcasting my own journeys from the road, sharing immersive soundscape episodes that drop you right into the moment, from busy streets to remote mountains. Along the way, I sit down with local people and fellow travelers to tell honest stories about life, culture, and chase an adventure beyond the routine. No filters, no fake perfection, just stories to tell, tips to share, and experiences to inspire. Search Winging It Travel Podcast on any podcast app, and let's wing it.
Hi, I'm Mike Siegel, and man, oh man, do I love talking about travel. You think I'd get enough of it touring the world as a stand-up comedian, or just going off on my own personal adventures around the world? No, when I get home, I still have to talk about it. That's how much I love travel. So every week I sit down with a friend, a travel expert, influencer, expat, or anyone from any walk of life who shares my passion for travel. So if you want to hear a fun, casual, off-the-cuff chat about travel from people who love it, listen to the Travel Tales podcast with me, Mike Siegel, wherever you get your podcasts.